Welcome to episode 10 of Star Trek Jeopardy, presented by the Keeping Up with the Cardassians podcast. We're glad that you're here. I'm glad to be here. And we just want to thank you all because in episode 9, we asked you to reach out to your friends, reach out to your family, reach out to your enemies, and anybody you can, and help us get over 1,000 subscribers. And boy, did you come through. You came through in a big way. So we want to thank you. This being episode 10, there's going to be some special callbacks in this episode. We're going to bring back a few categories that you've seen before. And you know how Jeopardy works. We're going to present you with the answer. You give us the question. Remember to phrase your question in the form, your response in the form of a question, or don't if you don't want. Nobody's keeping track. Nobody's going to tell if you did. The only person who's going to be disappointed is Alex Trebek, and he's looking down at you from heaven like this. So with that being said, let's read through our categories. We're starting with Who Said It? Then, You're Trippin'. And this is a response to an Instagram poll we did where we gave you 3 categories and we asked which one you wanted, and you all said this one. So this is You're Trippin', and this is going to be about Trip Tucker from Enterprise. Followed by Starfleet Fields. Famous Guests. The original series, season 1. Star Trek Weapons. The way this is going to work is we're going to start with the $200 category, then we're going to go to the $400 category, and then the $600, and so on and so forth. You get the picture from there. And before we get to the board, tell us in the comments how we're doing. If there's anything you like or anything you don't like, if anything you want to see more of or less of, let us know. Also, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So let's start with our first question in our first category, Who Said It? With the first link, the chain is forged, the first speech censored, the first thought forbidden, changes us all irrevocably. And if you said Captain Jean-Luc Picard, you're right. You're Trippin' for $200. Trip isn't his actual first name, but it's this. The correct answer is Charles. He kind of looks like a Charles, doesn't he? Starfleet Fields for $200. This division color was once yellow, but later switched to better suited color of red. That is Command. And you know what? Jean-Luc really looked good in that red tunic. I don't think he looked good in the gold. I think they made the right call. Next is Famous Guest for $200. He really was a bane to Picard. If you said Tom Hardy, you're right.
Experienced so terran illnesses, and he diagnosed me with Sherlock syndrome.
Bane. Let's not stand on ceremony here. Mr. Wayne.
The original series, season 1. In City on the Edge of Forever, history is altered due to this character not dying as history recorded. That was Edith Keeler, played by Joan Collins. Star Trek Weapons for $200. This iconic handheld weapon, often set to stun, is the go-to sidearm of Starfleet officers. Of course that was a phaser. It's a $200 question. Now we're going on to the $400 questions. And we're going to start with Who Said It for $400. Leave any bigotry in your quarters. There's no room for it on the bridge. That was, of course, Captain James Tiberius Kirk in the classic original series episode, Balance of Terror.
Well, here's one thing you can be sure of, mister. Leave any bigotry in your quarters. There's no room for it on the bridge. Do I make myself clear?
You're Trippin' for $400. Trip did his survival training in the Australian outback with a group that included this future Starfleet officer. That was Captain Jonathan Archer. aka Dr. Sam Beckett. Starfleet Fields for 400. Keiko O'Brien was assigned to the Enterprise D as a civilian in this field. Botany. Famous guest for 400. Before she showed up in the Enterprise D, she was the first African-American female NASA astronaut. That is Dr. Mae Jemison.
Phase distortion is dropping. The next transport window opens in 42 seconds.
How long will we have, Lieutenant?
36 minutes, sir.
We are losing time. Lieutenant Riker should be here.
TOS Season 1. This ancient, near-immortal character appears in only one episode, The Squire of Gothos. And that is Trelane, and please forgive my mispronunciation. I'm sure I butchered Gothos or Gothos, or however it's pronounced. Star Trek weapons for 400. The Klingons favor this traditional curved blade in hand-to-hand combat. What is a bat'leth? Now for the $600 questions. The Klingon Empire is dying, and I think it deserves to die. I know this sounds harsh, but the truth is you've been willing to accept a government that you know is corrupt. That was Esri Dax sounding all grown up. You're Trippin for 600. This is Trip's favorite dessert. What is pecan pie? I guess there's no accounting for taste. Starfleet Fields for 600. A field of astronomy dedicated to collecting and analyzing data to make maps of planets and celestial objects. That would be stellar cartography. There was a really cool scene in stellar cartography in Star Trek Generations. I love that scene. Probably the best part of the movie.
It will pass through this sector in approximately 42 hours.
Yes. Guinan was right. She said that Sodom was trying to get back to the ribbon.
Famous guest for 600. Sulu didn't appreciate being woken up by this former Robin Hood lackey. And if you said Christian Slater, you are right.
They're refusing to acknowledge signal to return to space dock, sir.
The original series, Season 1. In Balance of Terror, the Enterprise engages in its first ever battle with this previously unseen alien species. Who are the Romulans? Hey, we've gotten 2 Balance of Terror references in one episode. How about that? Star Trek weapons for 600. Used by the Borg, this weapon is built into their arms and is capable of adapting to most energy fields. The answer is a nanoprobe injector, aka an assimilator. Now on to the $800 round. Who set it for $800? I'm sure the Admiral doesn't see it as treason. He would probably defend it as a desperate act of patriotism. That was Captain Benjamin Lafayette Sisko.
I'm sure the Admiral doesn't see it as treason. He would probably defend it as a desperate act of patriotism.
You're Trippin for 800. While the other male officers were succumbing to Orion females' attempts to take over their minds, he proved immune due to this. What is a psychic bond with T'Pol? That wasn't the only bond he had with T'Pol. Starfleet Fields for 800. Jet Reno teaches this field at Starfleet Academy. And that is temporal mechanics. Jet Reno, played by Tig Notaro, who is probably the best thing about Starfleet Academy right now. Famous guest for 800. A lifelong Trek fan, he did not do much raging against the machine when he appeared in Star Trek Voyager. who is Tom Morello.
Captain on the deck.
At ease. Junction room 16.
Over there, Captain.
Of course. Crewman Mitchell, how have you been?
Never better, ma'am. Yourself?
TOS Season 1 for 800. In the very first pilot, this actress played the Enterprise's original first officer. And that is Majel Barrett, the future Mrs. Roddenberry. Star Trek weapons for 800. These are powerful weapons banned by the Second Khitomer Accords because of their ability to cause permanent, unpredictable tears in the fabric of space. That is subspace or isolytic weapons. And now, finally, to the $1,000 round. The question's going to be harder. Let's see how well you do. Who said it for 1,000? Stop it. There is no time to worry about blame. Hogan was a fine officer and a good man. Our job is to make sure that his death is the last one for a very long time. I would not let this planet destroy my crew. That was Captain Janeway. I don't know her middle name. You're Trippin for 1,000. Tripp's admiration for this inventor helped him decide to become an engineer. Dr. Emory Erickson in the Enterprise Season 4 episode Daedalus, not to be confused with a Data episode.
You haven't stopped talking about this for a week. What's different for you? You grew up with the man. When I was 7, my mom bought me a book about him. Emory Erickson, father of the transporter. I made her read it to me every night for a month. That book is the reason I became an engineer.
Starfleet Fields for 1,000. A branch of astronomy that dealt with the physics of celestial objects, Pike got an F in this class. That was astrophysics. And I kind of understand that because I love science, I love physics, I love astrophysics, but I can't do the math. I got an F in that too. Famous guest for 1,000. He voiced Klingons Malar and Legnog on Lower Decks. He played a Xindi or Boreal on Enterprise, and even found a way to play Captain Kirk, Darth Maul, and DC's Doomsday in Smallville, as well as many other live action and voice roles. That was Sam Witwer. TOS Season 1000. This Season 1 episode introduced the concept of the Prime Directive, though the term was not used on screen. That was Return of the Archons. And finally, Star Trek weapons for 1,000. Rare and unstable, this ancient Vulcan weapon from the time of the Awakening could destroy a person's neural pathways with a single touch. The Psionic Resonator. All right, so how'd you do? Did you keep score? I hope so, because now it's time for Final Jeopardy, when you get to wager any or all of your accumulated points based on your knowledge of a Final Jeopardy category. And you know what? If you didn't keep score, who cares? This is for fun. I never keep score when I'm playing this. I just play along and answer the questions and embarrass myself based on how much I didn't know about Star Trek. But our Final Jeopardy category is going to be GeoGuessr. And if you're familiar with how we do Jeopardy, then you know that this category is going to show up in the next episode. So for this question, we're going to show you a picture, and we're going to need you to tell us where it is. Ready? Here's your picture. Badlands. It appeared in Star Trek Voyager and in Deep Space Nine. So how'd you do? Let us know in the comments. And also be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with all your friends, all your families. Hell, we don't care. Share it with your enemies. As long as we get eyes on this video, we're happy. Until next time, this will always be Bill, and this has been Star Trek Jeopardy.